I love the way you say go live. Oh, right then. Where are we? What are we doing today? Oh, hello everybody. Are you surprised? Were you surprised when you saw the little flash which says Rosemary's live or whatever it says? So let me see. There it is. It's come up on my phone. So now I think we are live. More off the cuff stuff tonight. We don't know if anybody's watching. We have no clue if anybody's about to watch. You may be in the middle of dinner, or you may be asleep in your bed. We'll never know, will we? If you don't watch and you don't talk to us and you don't send us messages or information, we won't know if there's anybody watching. Anyway, let's suppose that we have people watching. So good evening, everybody. It is somewhere around 8:15 or 8:20 or something like that on a Tuesday night in Florida, on the East Coast. And with me tonight, of course, as always, I have my spirit guide, Grey Eagle, who is, again, as always, standing to my right side. And I have Chris. Chris, is it a bit late for doing off the cuff stuff? What do you think?
Well, I think it's perfect timing because you already have a bunch of people on, so their time is our time now.
Good. Now these people, look, I've got to ask you all: have you got nothing better to do than join me on this show? Chris and I we thought we'd just do it and have a chat. We love that you've got nothing better to do, I think, than come and say hello to me or to us. You know, it's been a very busy day for me today. Tuesdays are always busy for me. But I was having an interesting conversation with somebody who actually was telling me how she'd sort of wanted to get in touch with me. And she kept using the word reading. Well, I thought I'd like to have a reading with you. And I thought, you know, and I've had readings with other people, and on and on it went. So I was talking to Chris about this earlier on, and I do understand why it's very common for people to think that when they come to see somebody like myself, or let's say a psychic of some kind, it's such a, you know, it's quite usual for people to say, oh, I'm going to have a reading with her or him or whatever it is. And as she this person was talking to me and saying that she'd had readings before, you know, I said, well, and she said, and they, you know, they never really answer the questions. I've never really had anybody who's done it before who's been able to answer all the questions, and they often don't answer all the questions, or they're vague with their answers. And she started talking about how oops, that's my grandson calling. She was, you know, she was.
Rosemary, can you hear me? Because we cannot hear you. We see your lips moving, but we cannot hear you. I think we'll all wait for you. We should all say, hi, Reese. I think everybody else who's listening while Rosemary's on the phone with her grandson, you're not going to hear the sound. So you just have to be patient. We don't want her to miss the good night. And God bless you. We don't want her to miss the good night with the grandson. Can people hear me? Can you write in the chat if you can hear me? Oh, good. I didn't hear anybody. All right. So Rosemary, we still can't hear you. Do you want to pop off and pop back in? No, we cannot hear you. I would just log out and log back in. All right, guys, thanks for being patient with us. I guess this is what Off the Cuff is about. All right, here we go.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
So I think I've got to apologize to everybody, right? Did we lose everybody, Chris?
No, everyone's still here. They could see you were talking to Reese, so they were very patient.
Thank you, everybody. I mean, I have to say goodnight to my grandson, and it suddenly occurred to me when I heard the phone ring that I hadn't had my nightly call, and I get a nightly call from my grandson every night, which I thank my daughter for, because she's lovely. She lets him call me every night, and we usually have much longer to chat, but still he does have to go to bed. It is school tomorrow. Right, now where were we?
We were talking about someone who mentioned readings to you and what their expectations were.
So this person was saying to me, you know, that she's had readings before with people like me, and she's never had a questions answered fully, or they're vague, or whatever it is she was saying. So she was pretty much prepared to be disappointed, and she kept saying to me, no pressure, if you can do it it's great, and if you can't do it it's okay. And it occurred to me, I was talking to Chris, that we really need to sort of help people to understand the difference between someone who senses and feels, is aware of stuff, who is what we would call sensitive or asensitive. So the difference between a person who is able to sense or to be aware of things, uh, and those like myself who are much more in tune, actually connecting with a person in the spirit world, or in some cases several people in the spirit world, where we don't do readings as they're called. I call what I do a consultation. You're having a consultation with me. When you come to see me, I say it's a consultation because it's often a three-way or a four-way, or even more than that, a conversation that we're having actually with people in the spirit world. So as this person was talking to me, I put up my hand and I said to her, hold on 1 second, let me just explain that I'm not going to give you a reading. And if this is what you want and this is what you're looking for, you don't need me. And I explained to her that whatever question she gave to me, I couldn't answer personally. Maybe Grey Eagle could, but I certainly couldn't answer personally. But even if Grey Eagle could answer them, if she's looking for someone in the spirit world to connect with, to help her with this stuff, then she needs someone to be able to have a conversation with a person in the spirit world. In other words, talking to a dead person. We know we don't believe in dead, don't we? We all know that. But actually having a conversation with someone where they say something to me and I say something back to them, and then they say something else to me, and Grey Eagle is there to, if I don't quite hear correctly or if I get something wrong, Grey Eagle will help me out. But he's mainly there to help out those people in the spirit world, not ghosts, not, you know, wispy bits of nothing at all, but people, solid, real people in the spirit world who will come to me and say hi and begin to talk about often how they died. They'll begin to talk about the different things that they see somebody doing. They'll look at the questions that we have and they'll start to answer those questions. thoroughly and clearly, hopefully, because if they don't do that thoroughly and clearly, I don't want to talk to them, because I'm obviously not making a good connection. It's not that I don't want to talk to them, but I'll say, we need to try again, or, this isn't working, or whatever it is. If I can't get a clear communication, this is what we have to understand, and this is what I think a lot of people don't understand when you could come to see somebody like me. What is it about? What's she going to do? This is what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to say, oh yes, they are telling me. I'm not going to say, yeah, I feel somebody here. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say, I sense someone around me, or I sense someone around. I'm not going to say that either. I'm going to say, for instance, I've been talking to people today all day, so I'm going to say something like, I can see this gentleman who tells me, and he's talking to me, and how he died, and so on and so forth. Very often I'll describe that person, this is, and he's telling me this and this about you. And whatever he's telling me, if it isn't accurate, and if the person I'm talking to who's come for the consultation doesn't understand it, then I'm quitting. Because I'll always say to my clients before we begin, if this does not work, if I feel that this is not working clearly, precisely, accurately, I'm going to give you two choices. The first is that I'll refund your money immediately. You're not paying me for my time, you're paying me for the content and the connection that we're going to make. So even if I spend an hour with someone and I feel that it's not working, I'll give them the option. I can happily give you your money back, or we'll just keep trying. We'll try again. And if that doesn't work a second time, we'll try again a third time if you'd like to, at no extra charge. This is what we're looking for. This is what you all out there should be looking for. When you come to see somebody like me, you have to either feel very strongly that I am talking to your mother, or that I am talking to your brother or your partner or your sister or your child, because of the evidence they're giving and the information that I'm getting from them. And not just that. Very often when I'm talking to someone in the spirit world, they might have a certain type of personality, or they might have something that they like, scratch their chin, or have some sort of I don't know, some little tick or something that they do on a regular basis, which you'll look and you say, oh wait, that's him, that's her, that's what he did. Because the connection will be so strong and so clear that this is what we're looking for and this is what we're expecting. This is when I do a consultation, bearing in mind, remember, it's going to take at least an hour. So I have an hour to, actually 2 hours this afternoon. Actually, it was 2 hours this morning. It was 2 hours. Yeah. So sometimes the consultation will last an hour. It sometimes lasts an hour and a half, and occasionally it lasts longer than that. But this gives us time. This gives me time to connect very clearly with the person in the spirit world that I'm talking to. And if I can't hear them very clearly, then I'm not going to do it. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to say, I'm really sorry, but this is an awful connection. I'm not doing very well here. And that's when I will say, you can either have your money back, or we can try again at no extra charge. And sometimes I've had to try maybe 3 times, because maybe I'm not having a good day, or maybe the person in the spirit world is too emotional, or finds a struggle in what to say, because they're so overwhelmed by what they're doing. They want to do it, because I wouldn't see them if they didn't, but they might be so emotional, or just simply the connection for whatever reason might not be good. So sometimes we have to try again, and occasionally we have to try a second time. When you go to see someone, that's what you should be expecting. Now, if it's a 10-minute here and a 5-minute message there, it's a whole other thing. Those messages should still be clear. You should still be able to understand them, but you can't obviously go into quite the detail that you would if you had more time. But so many people, you know, so many people go to a person who is, again, what I would say, sensitive, absolutely aware, absolutely sensitive, absolutely able to make a connection or to sense or to feel somebody around them. But it is not the same. It really is not the same as having a one-to-one conversation. They come into my living room. They don't, sometimes they sit down next to me. They don't always sit down, but they come into my living room and we have a conversation. If I didn't understand the conversation, it was like, if it was like listening to a foreign language, again, it wouldn't work for me. So this is what you're looking for when you go to see somebody like myself. This is what you are looking for. This is what you should expect. And this is what you should get. Or that person should say to you, if it's not clear, if they can't hear clearly, and if they can't give you clear information, and if they can't draw you a picture, if they can't describe the hole in the basement where the water's coming through because the house is about to fall down, if they can't describe the cracked tiles over your kitchen sink, if they can't give you those little intimate details of silly things, often not meaningful to anybody else, but if they, you know, if they can't give you that one small detail, or actually they should be able to give you several small details, simply because the person they're talking to is telling you this stuff, if they can't do that, then they are not making a connection. They're not making a true connection with the spirit world. Now, I know I'm making it tough on myself, because now I'm saying to you all, these are the expectations you should have. Not if you're looking for a 5-minute or a 2-minute or a quick message here and there. You can't do it then. Although, you know, sometimes you can do it then. Sometimes there are these amazing pieces of information that come out of a 5 or 10-minute conversation. But again, it is a conversation. So I'm not feeling or sensing. I'm seeing and I'm hearing, as well as feeling, as well as connecting with the emotions of that person. So it's like having somebody sitting across from me. They're devastated and they get emotionally traumatized and upset. That's what I'm looking for when I'm connecting with those in the spirit world. Chris, before we sort of, you know, I don't know if we do, I think, have comments. Before we sort of get to people's comments and questions and things, you've seen me work on a number of occasions. What would you advise people to look for, or do you have any comments on what we're talking about here?
Well, I have all kinds of comments, especially now being on the other side of this and helping you out and seeing questions that people have. I mean, many people have come because they've experienced others who have claimed to be psychic or a medium. I don't think any of them call themselves sensitives, but after they leave you, they're always wowed because you provide evidence. You aren't, you know, as the James Randys of the world, you aren't pulling pieces of information from them to repeat back in a different way. You're giving them the little bits and pieces, like, no, it was 2 rose bushes, not 1 that you planted.
Yes.
You know, things like that. But I think the danger sometimes is if I mean, everybody doesn't have a choice to see you. Everybody doesn't know you, unfortunately.
Well,
But
I'm not the only one who can do this either. So, you know, let's be clear about that. There are other people who can do this.
But the danger that happens, and we've heard it in a couple of different places where people have come to you, and one of these other, let's call them sensitives, have said, listen, your husband's cheating on you, your wife is cheating on you, and they go home and they leave a marriage that was clearly fixable or didn't need to go that way because they believed that person. So
when there wasn't infidelity at all. It's true that, you know, there are a lot of people out there who they claim to be sensitive, and they may well be sensitive, but they don't understand the responsibility that they have, because, and I always said this, what I do touches people's hearts and it changes people's lives. And I always want to make sure that if I'm going to change somebody's life, or if I'm going to be a part of changing someone's life, then I have to remain responsible at all times. And I have to make sure that I don't leave them with any lasting damage or any questions. And I need to make myself really clear about what I'm saying so that they understand fully and don't misinterpret what I'm saying. And so the responsibility of that is really, really huge. And I know that people listening, I know that many of you have been to somebody who has said something to you that either makes no sense whatsoever, or it sort of leaves you devastated. I can remember for my own self, I had a few miscarriages. I'm going back a long time now to when I was a young thing, which I'm no longer. But I remember being told quite clearly, you know, you're not going to have any children. And whether that person knew or had been told by somebody else in my neighborhood, because I had you know, sort of devastating surgeries, and I'd had miscarriages and all of that sort of thing. So people would look at me, and I was very skinny and frail looking at the time. I think I was saying something the other day about only my lowest weight was something like 85 pounds, which is ridiculous for, I mean, I'm 5'6" tall. So I look like something sort of like a twig, less than a twig. So whether somebody looks at you and they see you as frail, and I remember being told you will not have any children. Now, you know, we all say it doesn't matter. We go to see these people and we don't take much notice of what they say. However, little seeds can be dangerous things. And I remember having that in the back of my mind. And even when I was carrying my daughter, I had so many health issues. I literally was in bed for 9 months and could only get up to pee, and that was just about all I was allowed to do. I had to have injections every week. The nurse would come and stick something in my bum so that it would keep my cervix closed up so I wouldn't miscarry. I mean, it was a nightmare. But all the way through that pregnancy, because of this little seed that somebody had put into my head, you know, you wonder and you worry, and it makes a difference in your life. And you know, it can be a very devastating thing. And that little seed for me turned out to be inaccurate. And I know these little seeds for lots of people turn out to be inaccurate, but it can change people's lives, and it can make a huge difference and create doubt and unrest and anxiety in people. So, you know, if you are one of those people who is sensitive and you are aware and so on, you must always please remember, please be responsible about what you're saying to people. And please, you know, there's no detriment if you say to someone, I don't see anyone, I feel this and I sense that, but I'm not talking to a person in the spirit world. Be honest about it. There's no detriment to that. And then at least people know where you're coming from and they know what they're getting. I think we've discussed this enough. It's off the cuff, and I'm thinking about it because it's been on my mind on and off for the last few days, having talked to different people and had clients. You know, people have come for consultations with me, and you know, it's there's a sadness about the fact that people don't really know what to expect when they come to see somebody like myself. And you should expect great things, higher things. You should expect more than so many people are able to give to you. Chris, let's go ahead.
Florrie's asking, what if the person on the other side doesn't speak English? Can you still interpret?
We have an international language. There is no language barrier. I do, I do remember, oh gosh, quite a long time ago now, I had this lovely Australian guy who came to see me, and he had a great consult, and then he said, "Is it all right if I bring my friend?" They were at college together. He said, "Is it all right if I bring my friend? He's Japanese. He doesn't speak English, but I can come with him and interpret for him." So I said, fine. So they came in, sat down, and of course, the first thing that was asked was, if his family come through from the spirit world, will you be able to understand them? And I said, oh yes, no problem, because we have this. It's too hard to explain it, but we have this universal language, so we understand each other. It's a mind thing and an energy thing. So we have, we're able to have that conversation in that way. So there are no language barriers. However, the funny thing was that when my Australian friend said to me, let me bring my Japanese friend with me and I'll interpret for him, he forgot to tell me that he doesn't speak Japanese either. I think they were in my little study for over 5 hours, the two of them, because this young Japanese guy's family from the spirit world really came through and really wanted to communicate. So we were doing an awful lot of sign language, a little bit of English that he understood. His Australian friend was shouting a lot, thinking if I shout loudest, he'll understand me perfectly. Fortunately, we were able to do it, but it took an awfully long time to get this young Japanese guy to understand what it was that I was saying. With pictures, we used sign language, we used all sorts of things, but we managed to get through. But as far as his family in the spirit world was concerned, I had no problem whatsoever. Chris,
That's hilarious, actually.
it was funny.
Yeah, Mark says, Rosemary, you shared with me once, some time ago on here, 2 amazing, valuable messages that changed my world and more aware of their presence in my life, and how you shared with me what even my dad said. Comfort has so many rooms.
Oh, thank you for sharing that, Mark. That it's so nice of you to share that. And again, Mark is showing the example of how literally, when I say what I do touches people's hearts and does change people's lives. So just make sure everybody out there who does this stuff, does this work, you're going to change somebody's life for the better. You're not going to leave them confused or, as often happens, devastated. Um, I was going to say something else then, but anyway, it's gone out of my head. It is off the cuff stuff after all, Chris.
Absolutely. Margaret's saying, the last few days I've been fixing 3 pictures of my girls that keep tilting to the right. She wants to know if you have anything to say about that.
Well, Margaret, you know perfectly well what's going on. You do. You really do. You don't need me to tell you. Very often those in the spirit world, our loved ones in the spirit world, sort of, they try to give us these signs. They try to show us that they're around us. They'll tilt a picture, or they'll stop a clock, or I've often, and I've seen it myself, where, 1 minute the clock says 7 o'clock, and then all of a sudden you look again and it says 9 o'clock, and it's only been 5 minutes since you looked at the clock. When the spirit world is trying to show you, hey, we're here, don't worry. They often come in times when we need reassurance. They'll sometimes come if it's a party, or if it's a birthday, or whatever it is, to come and help us celebrate. But we need to watch for those signs. So Margaret, you got your signs, and you know that without me telling you, don't you?
Now, our friend Alea, super mom, super roofer,
Hey,
is
Aaliyah.
is on saying hello. We
Hi,
miss her.
darling.
Gina's saying, are your clients able to take notes? How does one remember all that is said? I'd be afraid to forget something.
Well, of course they're allowed to do whatever they want to do. Um, it's it's fine by me. Um, it's sometimes difficult when somebody says, "Can I record this?" And I have no problem with people recording, so you can do that as well. Just don't blame me if the recording doesn't work, because energy can distort sometimes. So I'll always say, if you want to take notes, by all means take notes. If you want to record, do whatever it is you want to do. I've had so many people, however, in the past they bring their, you know, especially when you do this, they bring their tape recorder, they get everything set up, they get, you know, and I've even been into TV studios when you know, something starts to go wrong, and if people know me well enough, they'll look at me and say, can you have them fix this, or will you stop them messing about with it? I did a Lisa Gibbons show once where all day long before they did the show, they, of course, all the technicians and the camera crew and everybody, they were all prepping. And what I didn't know at the time, but found out later, was the first guest that Lisa had on the show was a lovely lady who had lost her husband. He'd been killed in a motorbike accident. If you want to go to YouTube and look up Lisa Gibbons, you can see this. Actually, you can see how we do this. But what I didn't know was that her husband, who was killed on the motorbike, was one of the camera crew or one of the technicians. And they were everybody was waiting to see if I would give them a message from him. They were waiting to see what would happen. And he did come through to talk to us. And one of the first things he said, he was laughing and saying, "Oh boy," and he pointed to the camera crew, he pointed to everybody, because I couldn't see them through the lights, but he was pointing and saying, and how did you like it today? Because just about everything went wrong with their machinery, and everything went wrong with the cameras and so on. Luckily, they got it all back working by the time I came on the show, but they were wondering, you know, what's going on? And he said, "I've had some fun today with you guys." And you could hear them all laughing in the background, realizing, oh my goodness, he's still here with us. He's really here with us. And it's information like that I think is really, really important. And as I've said, you can go to YouTube and look up Lisa Gibbons with Rosemary Altea. You can go to Larry King with Rosemary Altea. You can see Maury Povich. You can, I don't know, so many different things. You can see Oprah. You can see where I've been on TV shows, and you can see how it works. And it really isn't a setup. And I've told this story many times. Once I went on every time I went on the Lisa Gibbons show, they'd shove me in a cupboard, or put headphones on me and shove me in a dark cupboard, sort of like a little closet thing. While they started the show, brought on the guests, talked to the guests about what they were doing. And at some point when they were ready for me, they'd bring me out. They'd say, "Come on, Rosemary, we're ready for you." And I'd sit there. Now, most of the audience knew what was going to happen, or at least they knew who Lisa was going to bring on as guests. And I was the one sort of left in the dark. And then everybody in the audience would look at me expectantly, wondering, am I going to get it right? Am I going to see this? So the audience would know, for instance, there was one show where there were two mothers in the audience, and they brought the two mothers onto the stage, and Lisa said to me very nicely, do you mind if we do this? Well, they'd already got it planned, so of course I didn't mind. And with the first lady, I saw a young man who happened to be a son, who was killed. And there was another mother, and I saw her son. So I'm seeing two women sitting on the sofa with two young men, one on each side of them. And as I'm talking to the boys, remember, we're having a conversation. I'm talking to the boys, and the first boy explains how he died. And then the second boy starts to explain how he died. And it turns out that the one who was killed gave one of his organs to the other kid. Unfortunately, the surgery went wrong and they both died, but one was an organ donor for the other. And because of this, the two mothers had gotten really close and so on. I mean, how would I know that? I'm in a cupboard, believe it or not. I'm in a cupboard with headphones on, and so the audience is waiting with bated breath. Will she be able to tell them this? Will she be able to talk to these boys? What's going to happen? There was none of this, I feel or I sense, it was, I can see a young man standing next to you. Please go, go take a look at these shows, and you can see what you should expect when you go to see somebody like myself. And there are other people. I'm not the only one on the planet who does this by any means. Unfortunately, though, you might have to sort of dig around to find the ones that are really good. Chris.
Jeanette's asking, do our pets see us from the other side? Will we see them again? Because I lost my little dog 3 weeks ago. She was the love of my life.
Oh, darling, I'm so sorry. And absolutely, yes. Funnily enough, I was with a friend. A friend came to visit me briefly today. And, those of you who know me know that I lost my puppy, my last one, Cachorro, at Christmas, just after Christmas, in the new year. And sorry, I'm wobbling, Chris. Sorry, I just knocked the stand there. Sorry about that. It is, well, we are off the cuff, right?
That's right.
And so, a lot of you know that I lost my puppy, and my friend had just lost her puppy too. And I was saying how hard it was, and I said, it's really tough because he's my last one, because I've had quite a few dogs. I make a sandwich, for instance. I made myself a chicken sandwich for my dinner yesterday, and I come in and I sit, because I'm going to read or something while I'm eating, and I go to put the sandwich on the table, and then I stop and think, oh no, because of the dog. I'm not going to have the dog sniffing at the sandwich, but there is no dog anymore. You do things from habit, and you do things that remind you. But fortunately, and I'm sure if you look and if you listen and if you pay attention, my lovely, I am sure that I see Cachorro all the time. I see Nina all the time. I see Feather. And on it goes. We don't want to. And I see Rosie. Sorry, Grey Eagles reminding me. And I see Rosie. I see my puppies on and off all the time. But I also know that when they come to visit me, they're just coming to say hi and to let me know that they're okay, and to let me know that they are around. So absolutely, you can see your puppies. Absolutely, I have such a great story to tell about a woman and her puppies. I'm not going to tell it now. I might tell the story maybe on Saturday. Who knows? We shall see. If you can make a note of that, Chris, for me, the
Okay.
dog lady story. But our pets, especially, we love them. They love us. We form a bond. We form a friendship. It's all about the energy and the connection of energy. And so, I know that my puppies, I've even got Cachorro nudging my arm as I'm talking to you. Didn't expect that, little wet nose. But yes, I have to sort of gather myself here. Yes, they're all around us, and they come visit us often. So I'm so sorry for your loss, but please understand, you will, I promise you, see this little one again. Chris.
Lori is saying, I have 2 very excited and hopeful friends going to your event on Saturday.
All right.
One in particular is definitely nervous. What could you tell that person?
Don't be nervous. Don't be scared. I'm really nice, I think that there are no guarantees, and the event on Saturday, I'm going to be with Grey Eagle, and for 3 hours I'm going to be giving messages to all the people who are there. When I say to all of them, I can't guarantee I'm going to reach every person, but I'm going to be, for 3 hours, we're going to be talking about how it works. I'm going to be giving messages from the spirit world. I shall be exhausted afterwards. I shall want a good sleep afterwards, but that's okay, because it's exciting, isn't it, to think that you just might get a message from the spirit world. And I think also, as with any message, when you give a message to an audience, whether the audience is online or whether the audience is a live audience, it doesn't matter. You give a message to one person, but that message resonates with so many other people in the audience too. So even though it might seem that one person has a message, the message is for everybody. So Oh, good. I'm excited that they're coming. And what can I tell you? Don't be nervous. Don't be scared. I think a lot of people are nervous. You know, they're nervous if they get a message, and they're nervous if they don't get a message. They're anxious if they do, and they're anxious if they don't. And they might not get a message, Laurie. I mean, who knows? But I think what will happen is when they arrive there, and once we start, I think the nerves will dissipate, and they'll be just fascinated with the whole process, as I am. Chris.
I'll make sure to put a link into the chat for those people who didn't know you were going to have an event on Saturday, so they have a chance. There's a few tickets left, so
Yeah,
hop in there
we do
quickly.
try to keep it to a small amount of people, but yes, there are some tickets left, and if you want to get a ticket, please go to the website or click on the link that Chris is sending to you. The event is held by Eventbrite, and if you click on the link if you go to the website rosemaryaltea.com and you click on the link for Eventbrite for the event, there are two in May, so don't get confused. There's one this coming weekend, which is the 8th of May, and there is another one which I'm so excited about, where we're doing a direct voice with my spirit guide Gregor, where he will be actually talking to you. I shall be stepping aside, and he will be using my body, weird as it might sound. He'll be using my voice box, weird as it sounds, but he will be talking directly to all of you, and there will be opportunity to ask him questions also. So that's exciting. So that's on the 22nd of May. So please, anybody who doesn't know or didn't know, go, you still got a chance. Go to the website rosemaryaltea.com or click on the link that Chris is sending, and it'll tell you exactly what to do. Chris.
Or even more exciting, if you go to the main page of the website, there's a calendar that you can download, because this is a big celebration month. Did you want to talk about that, Rosemary?
Well, I didn't think I thought everybody knew, but of course we're always getting new people in. So, okay. The month of May is a celebratory month for me anyway, because it's my birthday month. But every book I've ever written, and I've written a few, has always been the official publication date is the 19th of May. And this month, it just so happens, because we have to celebrate this month, the 19th of May, 25 years ago, was the first publication of The Eagle and the Rose, which is my first book. Still in print, amazingly. Still being sold in bookstores, amazingly. You can get it on Amazon as well. But if you really want to know where to get it, you can actually email us, and Chris will tell you exactly where to go to get The Eagle and the Rose in an easy and a simple way. Yes, 25 years. It's 25 years since I became a New York Times best-selling author. Anyway, it's 25 years of people being able to access the book, to learn about how this stuff works. There are stories in there. There are explanations there. I tell of my experiences. I talk a little bit about myself, and I remember when I first wrote the book, I thought it's just going to be about other people and other people's stories. But when my editor, Joanne Davis, who was a fantastic editor, the best ever editor, and thanks to her and my agent, Joni Evans, the book became a New York Times bestseller. But when Joanne Davis first read the book, she's saying, well, it's fascinating, and yeah, it's great, but where are you? You're not in this book, and we want to know about you. So I did have to write a little bit about me as well, but it is a great book to read. And so so you should hot foot out there and get it straight away. Chris.
ML says, that's wonderful. Congratulations on that. It must be a wonderful feeling to be a New York Times bestseller.
Well, yeah, I've had 25 years to get used to it, so it is kind of nice, and it is, it is one of those. I suppose it's one of those, highlighted moments in your life. If you have to look back on your life and you could say, what did you do and what did you achieve? I suppose that is one of those things. But more to the point is the book, because I've lost count of how many people have called me and said my son or my wife or my sister or whatever, they were dying. We used to read the book to them. They've asked, could we put it in the coffin with them? And why they asked me, I've no idea. But it's such an honor and it's such an accolade, not to me, but to, I mean, this book is filled with other people's experiences. So I can only say that the accolades should go to the people who have shared and allowed me to share their stories with all of you. So it's a very, very meaningful book. I remember uh, one of my, somebody in the agency that I used to be with actually was telling the story, and this story got back to me. That they eventually they asked the young man in question, can we share this with Rosemary? He was this young man was traveling across wherever, and I think he was in an eastern or far eastern country, and he he's had his backpack with him, and he was walking, he was sort of walking from country to country, and at some point in this particular country that he was in, there was a raid, a bomb or bombs or whatever. Anyway, there was a raid, and all the people fled to the shelters. And a lot of the people in this young man's shelter, they spoke English, luckily, but a lot of them were foreigners, and they were in that shelter for about 4 or 5 days. And he was the only young man, and he was the only person in the shelter who had a book. So to pass the time away and to help everybody, he suggested that he should read this book to them. So over 4 days, they read the book, I think at least twice, if not maybe 3 times, and he would read the book to them, and then they would discuss what they'd read in the book. And you know which book it is, don't you? You do, don't you? And so the idea of this young man, all of these people in this shelter being absolutely terrified, having to stay down there for 3 or 4 days, being absolutely terrified of what they were going to find when they came out of the shelter, if they would find anything. And here he was inspiring them all. And they had, everybody in the shelter was talking about it. Is it true? Isn't it true? Or I've had an experience, and so on. And it began to sort of help people and take their minds off what was going on and focus on some really interesting stuff. That book has been all over the place. It's sort of all over the world. What can I say? Chris?
Faye says, I saw you on Oprah when you were promoting the book, and I've read all of your books. It helped me tremendously when I lost my mother. Thank you for that.
Oh, Faye, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. It's so nice when you hear people, so here 25 years later, she can still remember reading the book and how it helped her. Isn't that great? Chris?
Well, I think about how many books I bought, because you would buy the one for yourself, right? And many of them I had you sign, but you lend it to somebody and you don't get it back. And so then you go and you get another one and you lend it to somebody because it's just like so valuable. I've lent it to a lot of people, like in the hospital, or who are facing some sort of health issue or what have you. I mean, I can't even tell you how many books I've given away.
I do know we have a mutual friend, Karen. I don't know if she's watching tonight, but we have a mutual friend, Karen, who she actually will come when she comes to visit, or she'll sometimes say to me, can you send me, or can I buy wherever I want to buy 10 books, or sometimes 15 books, and she'll buy them in bulk and give them out as Christmas gifts. She gives them to friends who are going through a tough time. She has given them to her family. I mean, it's the kind of book that, just even if you don't believe it, people love to read it anyway. So,
yeah. Carla says, I love your books. Lori says, congratulations. Robin says, the book is amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's funny though, but people sometimes come to me and they'll say, and I've read your book. Like I've only written one, and I haven't. I've written many, but that is the book I think that does stand out for people.
Robin's saying, I often wonder if my boy could hug me from the other side, and what would be the feeling I would get, or from any loved one?
Oh, well, I don't know. I can't. I'd love to be able to say this is how you're going to feel, but everybody feels differently, and everybody has their own different experiences. And what I think you might feel, you may not feel, but what I experience, because I do talk to a lot of people who have lost their children. I have been to, I don't know if anybody knows of the Tomorrow's Children organization, but they have a hospital just outside of New York City. And I've been to the Tomorrow's Children and given, groups of people and given messages from the children. The Tomorrow's Children is an organization where the hospital takes in terminally ill children who have different types of cancers. And when you're able to sit there with a group of parents who are grieving, and you see this young boy who maybe he's sort of 16 or 17, and you're able to describe him to his parents, that's one thing. But when you're then able to say to the father, so he tells me that you are wearing his old golf shoes and they're almost worn out and you really do have to change them, but every time you go out and play golf, you're wearing your son's golf shoes. I mean, who would know that? How would that happen? It's, oh gosh, isn't it amazing? It's pretty neat. I think there's nobody more excited and thrilled than I am. You'd think, but by now I'd be used to it. But every day that I talk to someone, and every day that I'm able to communicate with someone in the spirit world, and every day that I'm able to give those messages, like I can say to you with your boy, just to connect with him, just to have a message from him, I think would just I think it might make your day, and it might help you to understand that you know we don't really lose them, and you will see him again, and that I can promise you. You will see him again. I'm absolutely certain of it. Chris.
Katty says, I'm traveling this week and feeling my hubby less than I do at home. I'm not worried. I know he's near all the time. However, why do we sometimes sense them less?
Well, it's probably because you're busy and you're thinking of other things, and I mean, traveling is exhausting anyway, and traveling is the one, it's the one task that we have to do, and we have to focus on, and we have to concentrate on what we're doing and where we're going, and you know, just because we want them there 24/7 doesn't mean that they are there 24/7. They're there when we need them. They're there when we're missing them. They really try to be there as often as they can when we need them. But they do have other things to do too. There are lots of things in the spirit world that people can do. Yes, well, we can go into that another night. How is everybody enjoying it? Are you all enjoying this off the cuff stuff? I love this off the cuff stuff. Don't you love it, Chris?
I do. I mean, we're a community. We're a family here, right? We're all
Yeah,
rooting for each other, and we all
absolutely.
want to know more about this subject.
I want to see a picture of Leah's baby, by the way. That's what I wanted to see. Just mentioning it,
I think
Leah.
you might have to pop on Facebook, Rosemary,
Oh,
because it's
yeah.
there.
Okay. Well,
Peace is saying, I am lost. I feel victimized at work. It's strange that although I believe so firmly in the spirit world, I don't seem to have their support.
um, it sounds to me that you are really struggling, and there may be a little bit of depression in there somewhere. I'm so sorry that you feel this way. There are things that you can do to help yourself, I have to say. And sometimes we literally do have to help ourselves. If you feel victimized at work, I know you're going to say it's easy for me to say this. Start looking for another job. Start looking to get out of the situation that you're in. You'll probably say to me, I can't look for another job because I need the money, but you can, and you can look for another job that will meet all of your requirements, the money and so on. It's just that sometimes we feel so stuck in a place and so helpless, and we're never helpless. And no matter how much you don't feel the spirit world is with you, they know that they are, they feel you. So I think, you know, taking an action, taking positive actions, um, you know, finding friends, finding people who have similar hobbies to you, joining a walking group. There's always things that you can do to make your life a little bit better. And please don't use the COVID stuff as an excuse, because, you know, it isn't. You know, you can join a walking club and you can all wear masks if necessary. You can join a sewing circle or whatever your hobby is, whatever it is you'd like. And even if you don't have a particular hobby, look and see what things that are out there that you just might be interested in. But then you've got to take the action, my love. And I promise you can do it. Chris.
ML says, I had a fight with a friend and she won't speak with me. Do you see her ever talking to me again?
Oh dear. Oh dear. Have you thought about going and banging on a door? What a shame. So, you know, it's devastating when this happens. Um, it's happened to me a few times, and I was actually talking to somebody just the other day about good friends of mine. And it happened that, excuse me, it happened that he was a little bit deaf. And he came to see me one day, and he obviously misunderstood something I'd said to him. And the next thing I know, I didn't hear from them that week, and I didn't hear from them the next week. And I'm calling and saying, you know, and I was leaving messages, getting nothing in return, getting nothing back. And I had no idea what I'd said that might offend them. But they were such good friends, I thought, not having this. So I actually got in my car and I drove to their house, and I knocked on the door and I said, you know, I don't care what's going on. We need to talk, because I'm not going to lose you without a fight. So fighting, you can go and knock on somebody's door. You can send them a card every other day. You can leave them a message. I love you. I don't want anything from you, but I'm just wanting to let you know that I love you. I think it's always important to say you're sorry. I'm really, really sorry if I have offended you. Even if you didn't do anything wrong, or you feel you didn't do anything wrong, you should still be sorry that the friendship is having this trouble. So never be afraid to say, I'm really sorry that we're not talking. I'm really sorry I've upset you or something, whatever it is. And, you know, I mean, I've had fights with my daughter from time to time when she was young, when she was younger. And the idea is just don't give up. And I would call her 2 or 3 times a week. She'd never pick up because she'd know it's me. And I'd say, just let you know I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Click. I wasn't asking for anything from her. I wasn't even asking to have a communication. I was just letting her know, if you think I'm giving up on you, you've got another thing coming, is really what I was saying. But hey, I love you. Hope you're doing okay. Click. Brief, short, to the point, just to say, you're not getting rid of me so easily. It depends how much you feel the friendship is worth. And it depends how much your own pride is holding you back. And my advice is, don't let it. Chris.
Rosemary, we're coming right up on the hour. Did you want to at least give them a heads up about what happens tomorrow and Thursday and Friday?
Oh, crikey. How have we been talking for an hour? That can't be possible. Yes. So tomorrow, what's happening tomorrow?
Tomorrow's Wednesday, so we're doing our first Wellness Wednesday.
We're doing Wellness Wednesday tomorrow. Those of you who want to know more about healing, if you want to know more about energy, if you want to know more about how to create good energy around you, tomorrow is that, 12 noon, I do believe, Chris, Eastern Standard Time. we're going to be talking about anxiety a little bit and how to ease anxiety and how to help with anxiety, because anxiety, we know, is really, we all have it, don't we, from time to time. So we're going to be talking about that and about healing. I'm going to show you how we can give healing to ourselves and also how we can give healing to others. So that's tomorrow, Wellness Wednesday. On Thursday, as ever, we are doing our Thursday show, The Spirit World Sees All, and do they ever see all? And that's going to be at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Friday, we have a guest who I'm going to do an exercise with. This guest has volunteered to be on camera to talk with me, and we're going to sort of be able to give some help and advice to that person. You're going to be able to witness some of that. We're going to be doing an exercise that we call the bottom brick. On Saturday, let's see what we're doing on Saturday. On Saturday, as ever, again, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. No, that's not right, is it? No, sorry, no story time on
the
Saturday.
big event.
We're going to be doing our webinar. If you want to know more about it, if you want to join in with our webinar, go to the website, rosemaryaltea.com, or email us, Chris, K-R-I-S, at rosemaryaltea.com, and we'll tell you what to do and how to get tickets if you're interested in doing that, or for the 22nd of May also. And on Sunday, gosh, did we come around? If you want to go, if you want to find what we cooked, it wasn't really cooking actually, but anyway, if you want to find what I made in the kitchen last Sunday, we are having our celebratory meal, and our celebratory meal is, let me see, it was going to be peaches with my own personal recipe for cream cheese, which is unbelievably delicious. I couldn't find peaches, so we use melons and pears, which I love. But really, it's about the cream cheese and how to make it, how to mix it, what to do with it, and then how to eat it, of course. So our first course is the cream cheese. Our second course, which will be on Sunday, our Parmesan encrusted fish. And you can do this with chicken or fish, or I suppose you could do it with turkey as well. But anyway, I'm going to be doing that. So that's our second course, is the fish course. And then we are going to go straight to the dessert, which is the following Sunday. And our cooking shows are going to be, are they at noon, Chris?
Most of them, the cooking, let's see, yes, noon.
So I think at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And we just have a lot of fun. I think I was drinking a little bit last Sunday. Why was I drinking a little bit? Oh, I know.
Grey Eagle told you to.
Well, I actually put the port in the cheese, so why not also put some in a glass? And I'm going to help you to understand through these cooking shows. I'm going to help you to understand that first of all, I had my daddy there last Sunday. He loves to be in the kitchen with me. Amazingly, and most exciting for me was that I had my brother there, who I don't often get to connect with, but he was there enjoying the show with me. And of course, I have Grey Eagle, who helps me with the recipes that I'm cooking. So if you want to join me on Sunday at noon Eastern Standard Time, I'll be around and you'll see me pop up. And then we're right back to Monday again. Anyway, look at the calendar. Go to the website, rosemaryaltea.com, connect with the calendar, and you'll find me there. And again, if you want to get tickets for Saturday, there are just a few left. So hot foot to the website and click on whatever you click on there. The Eventbrite button will be there, and it'll take you straight to what you have to do in order to get a ticket. We're giving messages. 3 hours. Really? 3 hours? Why do we do 3 hours, Chris? Anyway, there we are. It's a 3-hour webinar, and it'll be fun. And I'll be giving messages with Grey Eagle. Is that it, Chris? Is there anything else?
So.
Anybody sort of, any question you can pick out there, or any comment or anything that's going on there?
No, I think that's pretty good, Rosemary. I mean, there are still questions we didn't get to, obviously, but we're going to be here all month, right?
We are. We're doing something every day for the whole month. But yes, you know, it's Tuesday, so we did the off the cuff stuff. But it may not be Tuesday next time. It may be tomorrow. We may be doing off the cuff tomorrow as well. I'm going to sneak into your houses. I'm going to be saying hi to you all, even if it's only for 5 or 10 minutes. We're going to be doing some off the cuff stuff, uh, as and when we feel like it. In the meantime, thank you, everybody. It has been fun talking to you all, and thank you for joining us tonight, from Gregor and myself. And thank you, Chris, particularly, who's also sort of, it's again a late night for us, Chris. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for joining us. And please have a very, very blessed rest of the night, everybody. And hopefully, I shall see you tomorrow. Oh, and also, watch out for the thought of the week thing, by the way. I'd forgotten that bit. That's it for now. Bye, everybody.